All right. Exciting day here on the Rome Show on 12 Ounce Sports. We are missing a Rocky Romanella, but we have another filling in. We'll get into that later, though. So much sports on the docket. Something we were talking about before the show. I'm going to have to call you Rocky here. It's weird not calling you Dad. Again, we'll get onto that later.
Hey,
but
listen, your sister didn't have a hard time.
That's a good. Well, that's a little bit easier for her. But the power rankings came out for Major League Baseball. They simulated it. And the Yankees, number 2 on that list. The Dodgers, number 1. The Braves, number 3. Initial thoughts?
Well, you know, I know your fan base here in the Northeast may not be happy, but I don't see the Yankees as number 2. I actually think San Diego is number 2. I actually think it's the Dodgers, San Diego. Of course, the Yankees are going to be in there, the top 5. But I really do think I think San Diego made the biggest move. I think taking care of Tatis was a good thing. It's one less thing for them.
I agree.
So
Now, whether or not the 14 years and the 340 comes into play, I think you're going to get at least 6 or 8 years of that guy's prime.
well, the best part is he's young. So it's not like if he's 31 and you're giving him 6, 7 years, you know you're eating the last 2 years. But I mean he's in his prime. I mean, he will get better.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
they have a good pitching staff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there are players around him, not just Manny Machado, that I think make that team exciting. And I agree with you. Now, do I think the Yankees are in the top 5? Yes.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen enough winning from them in the playoffs for me to believe that they should be. Now, it was computer simulated, but just from a human feel, I guess I should say.
Well, they probably own the computer. That's why. The
That's
Yankees,
right.
I mean, they own everything else.
That's
So
right.
They probably own it. The evil empire owns the computer that runs a simulation that says they're number 2.
Now, something else I saw on here that jumped out to me before we get into the show at 8 o'clock. The Mets were number 6, but in front of them, the Twins at 4. Excuse me, the Astros at 4 and the Twins at 5.
I'd be curious about the Astros only because, Springer was a good component of it. I think that he's one of those players that he's just a good teammate kind of player. But they got a great pitching staff. So I mean, and by the way, pitching is what wins. That's the problem the Yankees don't ever get. I mean, the Yankees are all about winning 100 games, filling the stadium.
Yep.
Hopefully, post-COVID, they can again. It'll be good for all of us to be back at games. But the point is, they're going to get there. They're going to win 100 games, and then they're going to get to the playoffs.
And that's the thing. And I think Aaron Boone might be on the hot seat if they don't win something this year. How many Yankee managers have managed there for 5 or more years without winning, getting to
No.
the World Series?
No, I mean,
Not even being there.
I mean, he may win with the Phillies.
Who? Joe Girardi. That's right. Before
the Yankees do.
Well, and
yeah.
that's another team that I think they're above the 15 number on this list. But that's another team that I think, like the Nationals, number 14 on this list, that you might think about.
Yeah, well, the Phillies, the bullpens would kill them last year. So.
I agree. And I think pitching, as always, is the key to baseball runs. Listen, we're going to get into more at 8 o'clock. But first, we hear from our friends at 12 Ounce Sports.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Change your game with the all-new Pro Rock Hockey Stick. a Canadian company providing a top-of-the-line twig at an affordable price. Pro Rock sticks are extremely lightweight, balanced, and provide the perfect kick point. Get your fully customized stick today at ProRock.com. Play like a Pro Rock.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Rome Show here on 12 Ounce Sports. You can get The Rome Show on Zingo TV channel 761, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter Live, and of course, 12OunceNetwork.com. Let's meet the starting lineup for tonight's broadcast. First, the same name. He hails from Allentown, New Jersey, roughly 5'7", a mustache that has gone through generations. On mic number 2, the other Rocky Romanella. Hailing from Morristown, New Jersey, he's a regular on the Rome Show. His face is the caricature, standing at 5'6". On microphone number 1, Andrew Romanella. All right. Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12 Ounce Sports. You can get us on Instagram and Twitter at Wide World of Rome, or of course 609-401-1007. Rocky Romanella, the other, the elder, the statesman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm not quite sure about drinking out of these sippy cups. I think you're worried I might spill something, but other than that, I'm okay being here.
We're just taking precaution with the technology. No, our good friends at The Good Cup, you can find them on Instagram, on Twitter, at The Good Cup. They are 100% environmentally made cups. This one is a straw wheat plastic cup. It is very nice. My father, not necessarily into these things. No, I am. But they're nice. They're nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to see now I know what the grandkids are going through when they're drinking. So
it's not just the technology on the phone; it's the technology when you drink your coffee as well.
There you go.
All right, so we got a jam-packed Rome Show for you today. Rocky Romanella, the other, is on the road, but that doesn't mean we're going to have a little bit of fun with him. We have something that we're calling today Question the Rockies. All right, there's 7 questions. We'll get into that. You have to stay with us all the way until 9 o'clock. Come back on the other side of the break. We got a little hockey with Rocky. We talked a little baseball.
Yes, we did.
On the pre-show. And, of course, you were getting a little heated about Russell Wilson and the football. So anything to say to the Romo Sapiens, Father, before we get into this exciting show we have planned?
No, good show tonight. A lot of good activity going on. It's finally feeling. I know we've opened up some stadiums now, 15% here.
It's exciting.
New York. Yeah, absolutely. So if nothing else, it's a good sign that maybe we're starting to come back and the vaccines are working.
The Knicks game was exciting the other day. Just hearing the fans yell and get excited, I thought that was pretty cool.
No, it's good, and it's good for people to be able to start doing other things. So
it is. All right, let's go with the highlights of the week.
3, 2, 1. Highlights of the week. The Eagle has landed.
Good, right? I'm glad you enjoyed the intro. The Eagle has landed in not a good way, Father, for Tiger Woods. Unfortunately involved in a single car crash. However, the positive news. Now, the leg has been in surgery, the leg and the ankle, the right leg specifically, some serious damage. They're saying that they believe it should be okay, but it's a lot of rehab. And there was no alcohol or drugs involved, which I think is very positive. Yes. Not just for Tiger Woods, but just in general, because you'd hate to hear that added to the story.
No, absolutely. And, it's good to hear that he's going to come out of it. Golf is obviously secondary right now. First comes his health and well-being and his ability. It was, a few weeks ago he was playing with his son. So that's the best part of it. And, of course, once you get past all of it and the fact that he is going to survive and he's they're projecting a recovery, if you're Genesis right now, you're talking about how safe your SUV
Absolutely.
is because that's the sponsor there for
Yeah.
PGA, and he was driving the new Genesis SUV. So somewhere there's a marketing person
I
there,
agree.
going nuts, writing this whole thing up here.
Yeah.
This is because the sheriff was saying it was amazing how the cab was in. So that was great news. He had a seatbelt on, so that was
Yeah.
good to hear.
Yeah, all good things besides the fact of the crash. But
Yeah.
the question becomes, does Tiger Woods play golf again? And you just don't know.
No, you just don't.
He's got a
know.
remade back, and now he's got a remade leg. You just don't know if you could do that.
No,
But
he
at the end
can
of the day, one of the greatest of all time.
and he can still be an advocate for golf for young
Absolutely.
kids. He can be an advocate for safety. There's a lot of things he can do. This could be, in retrospect, this could be a one of those moments that really changes him forever in a positive way because he's got a lot to offer. There's no doubt about it.
I agree, 100%. All right, moving on. Number 2, spring training has started. Baseball's in full swing to a degree. There's a 162-game schedule. The DH is back only in the American League, and only 10 teams make the playoffs. We're as close to regular baseball as possible. Pops, are you excited?
Well, I'm all pumped. I mean, I saw yesterday that the Mets have sold out. It's 1,500 seats each game.
Yeah,
all sold out.
it's exciting.
My friend Enzo, we're thinking about getting down
Shout out,
there.
Enzo.
Getting down there to see Mick Mazur, see if we can go see a few games. I don't even know now. They're all sold out. We'll have to find some old guy over there that's selling some tickets for 3 innings, whatever. Hey, here's a hot dog. Give me your seats or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I think it's exciting. I think they should just finally, though, just come to conclusion on things. You got to
Yeah.
get the DH over with already.
Yes. See,
it's going to happen next year.
Agreed, 100%. Why are we prolonging something that I think is inevitable?
Oh, I know. And we were talking about
And it was fun
before.
last year.
Of course it was. And the other thing I think is, you're going to do the DH to get rid of it next year when you do the collective bargaining agreement. So
Right.
just get there now.
Yes.
And then, by the way, pitchers aren't going more than 6 innings anyway. It's not even It's not even a part of the conversation anymore.
Absolutely. I agree
just
with you.
move on already. I don't know why they're like gaming each other for it.
100%. And baseball, as you've heard me rant and rave on this show often, I think has a lot of issues, but they're to be talked about and probably on its own show. Moving forward, the Lakers, father, have lost 4 straight in those games. They've averaged only 101.3 points. They've shot 29% from 3, and Anthony Davis hasn't played. There's a real chink in the armor, some may say, to the Lakers, but I say it's regular season basketball.
Well, don't get me started on basketball. Don't get me started. You're paying these people so much money, and then you finally get to a game. Now, obviously but now someday when you finally get to a game, you're spending $400 to get into the game, and then you're going to find out that
They're resting.
they're on a rest.
Yeah.
Who goes to work?
Yeah.
You think Enzo, 45 years on the Garden State Parkway. You think they get to the ends? Take a day
Yeah,
off. No,
right.
nobody else gets
It's a
to
rest
take
day.
No.
The one thing I'll give LeBron James credit for in the last 3 years is he's played over 70 games in each of the last 3 seasons, where you look at guys like Kyrie, who's been voted to the All-Star game, and he's only played 70% of his team's games so far.
ridiculous.
23 of 33. How could you be voted to the All-Star game
I
for
don't know.
that?
Like if you know there's a timeline in your career just because of, it's going to be like Brady. At some point, he will stop playing.
Right.
So that day comes, when you can't put the cleats on or you're not tying your sneakers again. You wish you could. Why would you look back and say, well, I only played 25% or 30. I missed 25% of my games.
Yeah.
Because I was taking. No, we play.
I agree.
You got one time shot to play. Play.
Right.
I don't know why you wouldn't. So.
And I think that's what you learn the most from a guy like Tom Brady, who wants to continue to play until he physically can't play any longer.
Right. But he knows it's going to come someday, so why not
100%.
have as much fun as you can?
While you're doing it. I agree, 100%.
That's the only sport, though, that has to take. I don't get this whole maintenance day stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. But I agree. Like a team like Utah right now, they're good. So they might be a different example, but that's a team that's going to draw extremely well when you have the Lakers come to town or the Nets come to town or the Clippers come to town, as opposed to the Oklahoma City Thunder with no one on that team anymore. So when you have the Lakers come to town, these Utahians buy tickets to see LeBron or AD, and AD takes a rest day. Well, yeah, you get to see LeBron, but I want to see the team that won the championship last year.
Oh, absolutely. 'Cause,
Everybody on that roster.
No, I agree with you 100%.
It's interesting. I think that's a conversation that'll never change. But the Lakers 4 straight. I think it's the regular season. We'll see what happens. Moving on, 2 more. All-Star game. Kyrie, I just mentioned it, was voted a starter. Now, I normally kill James Harden. I'm not in this scenario. I think he's played very well for the Brooklyn Nets, and he showed up every day.
Yes.
James Harden's a reserve on the East team. While Kyrie starts, James has played 6 more games than him, and their lines are almost the same. I don't understand the hypocrisy in the NBA when it comes to the All-Star voting.
Well, I don't understand the hypocrisy when it comes to I'm going to take a day off when the fans are paying for it. So why do I have to see an All-Star game? Go give them the days off,
True.
like hockey. You get
Right.
that period where, it used to be during the Olympic time, and then they kind of keep it that one midpoint or whatever.
Yes,
Go take that as your days off. Don't take the days off when it's the paying customer
100%.
who's bringing their family, and then the one game they go to that year, you're not playing. So I would say just get rid of this All-Star game. It's a joke anyway.
I agree.
No one's playing
And
anyway.
even the big players don't even want to play
No,
in it. They
LeBron-
think it is too.
Well, LeBron's whining about it all
I
the
know.
time. So just be done with it.
All right, those are your highlights of the week. Father Enzo was chiming in on the chats on the Facebook.com, and he said, Tiger will be back. I don't know. I just don't see how his body can do that.
No, I mean, the torque to which he swung a golf club was amazing. But look, I don't count out anybody. I mean, especially after Alex Smith.
True. That's a great point.
I mean,
That's a really good
You
point.
don't count out anybody. But look, nothing's more important than your life and your ability to spend time with your sons and your family. So you know
Absolutely.
what? God bless him. Speedy recovery. And you know what? If it happens, it happens. But as long as you can walk again, you can spend time with your family. That's what's most important.
609-401-1007 if you want to text in on the show. Facebook.com/The Rome Show 1, 12-ounce sports, or at Wide World of Rome on Twitter, at 12-ounce sports on Twitter. I mean, you can get the show everywhere. And if you miss it and you're like, oh man, I need to go or got to tell somebody, you go find the podcast. It's that easy.
That's that simple. And if we can get this listenership up, we might be 16-ounce sports.
Yeah, hey,
you go.
and that's just better for our health.
There you go.
That's absolutely better for our health. Enzo, continuing the fly-in, I love it. Here's the deal, all right? Russell Wilson has been a topic of conversation in the National Football League, and you brought up Mel Kiper had another mock draft out today.
He's bored.
So
every
there's a
day.
few things that we can get to with football, but the first I want to touch on is Russell Wilson. I think we both agree on this conversation. It's almost twofold. It's the conversation about the player's ability to say that they want to be traded. And it's the conversation of the way the Seahawks are handling Russell Wilson and how poor great players like Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson are being handled by certain organizations. That's my initial thoughts. And I say to myself, I don't see them trading him, but I feel like in this sports world today, with the way the players sit and feel about their own opinions and what they want, I don't know. I could see him maybe actually getting dealt, crazily enough.
Well, it depends on what you're getting back, obviously. And the other thing that's interesting is it depends on where a team is in its kind of evolution. So if you're the Seahawks and you're thinking, okay, I think he's around 30, 31, 32, in that range.
32 years old.
All right, so he's 6 years maybe left in his career. So you're almost thinking retooling almost.
Sure.
So if you're thinking retooling and you could get a huge haul back
Right.
for him, maybe if you're Seattle. I also think if you think you want to win, it's almost like the Mets problem right now. You got DeGrom is in his prime. You better put some players around him because once he leaves, so it's the same with Russell Wilson. He's in his prime. You got a chance to win it all with him. The thing that I don't understand about Russell Wilson is you're going to the playoffs almost every year.
Every year.
So if any other team you go to, you could go to Dallas. Like he's got, 4 teams he listed?
Yeah, he said he doesn't want to get traded, but he lists Dallas, New Orleans, Las Vegas, and Chicago as the teams he'd go to if he does get traded.
Right. So, I mean,
Sounds like he wants to get traded.
Well, yeah, but think about it. I mean, New Orleans didn't win with Breeze.
Drew Brees, no.
I mean, Dallas struggles with Dak. Now,
Sure.
I think that Wilson's better than Dak, but
Right.
I'm not sure he's that much better than Drew Brees. I mean, I would love to see. I would love to see him. I would pay, in fact, to see Russell Wilson on the Las Vegas team.
Oh, with John Gruden.
Absolutely,
Oh,
I'd pay for
man.
him. If he thinks that Pete
Yeah.
Carroll.
Is rough.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, because part of it for me is that he's in organizations. He's choosing organizations where it's. If I had to choose any of the 3 that he mentions, I'm going to the Saints because they've proven over time to be the most normal run organization. If you go to Dallas, you have to deal with Jerry Jones.
Right.
You don't want to deal with that.
Right.
They've proven they can't win with that
well,
system.
and let me interrupt you 1 second. Aaron Rodgers couldn't win with McCarthy.
100%.
So if he didn't win with Aaron Rodgers,
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure.
He's not going to win with Russell Wilson.
Right.
Okay. You go to Las Vegas. What does John Gruden prove?
Oh, but I'd pay to watch that.
I would
movie.
too.
That would be a great
Chicago.
show.
What do you want to go play with Matt Nagy? Like what
Yeah, I
teams
don't
are we
get it.
listing here?
No.
Those don't make any sense to me. That's a brand move, in my opinion. Then how much do you want to win anyways?
See, the first thing I would do if I had a quarterback like Russell Wilson and I was Pete Carroll,
Yeah.
here's the first thing I would do. I would let him call his own plays. I'd say, okay,
Absolutely.
you think you're this offensive genius, God bless you. You call your own plays.
Right.
Let's
I
see how
agree.
good you really
See
are.
what it's like.
See what it's like. Because it's a much different feeling when you're executing the plays. Now, I loved when Bart Starr and I loved when they called their own plays. But how much is he even audible? It's not like,
It's a great question.
I mean, I wonder about that. I don't know that answer.
Let's see if I can find it out.
Because if you think about it, at least you could argue that Peyton Manning called the vast majority of his plays because he was given 2 or 3 to call and he walked to the line of scrimmage. Same thing with Eli Manning. I mean, he was given 2 or 3 plays to call, and then he gets to the line of scrimmage and he's yelling, Omaha, Omaha, his arms are flying. So the question is, I don't know how many, is Russell Wilson that much a savant when it comes to offensive plays?
Well, he's getting hit a lot. And that's what he's been complaining about, is that he is one of the highest hit quarterbacks over the course of his career. So for me, it's more about the offensive line than anything else. But I think you're right. I think he probably wants more control over the offense. So to your point, if you're Pete Carroll, it's almost like, okay, here, have it. And hey, if he succeeds, you look like a genius. You're Pete Carroll.
You can't lose.
And if he doesn't succeed, you go, hey, I told you so.
Yeah.
This is a lot to handle.
Oh, yeah.
So why not, A, and B, if the Seahawks trade him this year, it's a $39 million dead cap hit next year.
Mhm.
Now, the cap went up to $180 million this year in the NFL. So that's huge going into next season.
Right.
That's exciting. But you don't want to spend your dead money, $39 million, to trade Russell Wilson without, your point, a haul back. So I don't see them trading him this year. So I think it's one of those scenarios where it's what can you do in the draft and over the course of this offseason to get an offensive line that can protect him and put more weapons than DK Metcalf around him and actually build a team that once gets in the playoffs can actually win. And hey, by the way,
Right.
remember when you won a Super Bowl with a running game? How about we try and go get one of those again?
Well, I think the other thing is the NFL is interesting from it's probably because of the number of games. So you're playing 16 games. It's probably the most strategic of the major sports in the sense of you've only got 16 games. You really can't afford to lose. You know, it's not like, think about it. If you're in
4 games is 25% of your season.
That's right. So if you think about baseball, I mean, there's someone that's going to win 60 games.
Right.
Right, no matter what. So
Absolutely.
I think that, so it becomes strategic. And I think what happens is they're very good at taking something away from you. If you think about the Super Bowl this year, they basically said, look, your offensive line's terrible. You're going to have to run the whole game.
Absolutely. 100%.
We're going to blitz
Yep.
everybody. We're going to put pressure on you. If you beat us with your legs, you deserve it.
Yep.
And that's what they do. They do that all
Great
the
point.
time. And I think that's what the thing is with a guy like a Russell Wilson is someone's always going to pick one thing to make you do. It's either you're going to run or you're going to pass. And depending on the kind of year you're having or the weapons you have is probably a better way of putting
That's
it.
a good point.
So I think that no matter where he goes, it's not always going to be as simple as
Yeah, I think this is a scenario where the grass isn't greener. I don't know if you're going to get it better in Seattle.
I'd love to know, though, the last thing is I'd love to know about him calling audibles because when the play was called in, because they should have 2 Super Bowls, right? They gave the one away.
Yeah, so if he's able to call an audible,
What do you call it?
would he have Monday Morning Quarterback says he calls an audible, but you're right. In that moment, would he have called an audible if he had and does he have the ability in that moment to call an audible?
Well,
I would hope Russell Wilson at this point in his career can make any play call he wants on the offensive line.
That's probably true. And, I mean, you could argue, we're talk show, so I guess you can make these statements if you want, but you could make the argument that was a bad throw.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're supposed to be a quarterback that's reading the defense,
Yeah,
and you see that, yes,
so,
100%.
Okay, so pull it down and run. You could have ran it and been a
There's
hero.
a lot of things that could have happened.
Right. So the point is it's not always as simple as he's frustrated, he's getting hit too much, or whatever.
I agree.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think what the NBA has done, interestingly enough, from a distance watching, and you guys watch NBA more than I do, but I think what they've done is this whole aspect of the players are now deciding what the teams are going to look like, where they're going to play.
Yes.
And so I think other sports, football is probably the closest to being able to think they can do that next, because a quarterback is very similar to that one player on a basketball team. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, it's
100%.
right, the way KD is on the Nets now, and LeBron's out there in LA. I think that the quarterback believes now that they're starting to have that kind of gravitas, that kind of clout inside an organization.
Absolutely.
But the thing I think that they don't realize is there's 10 other players, and i.e., go talk to our friend in Kansas City and ask him, hey, you know what? I wish I had an offensive line.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, because without that, it doesn't matter. You could have the best weapons anywhere. If you don't have the guys in the trenches, and I believe on both sides of the ball, defense and offense, you can't win. It's impossible.
Coach Wooden, rest his soul, said one time that he had a conversation with Lou Alcindor, now obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he said to him, you may be the engine in this car, but without those 4 other wheels, this vehicle is going nowhere. And so I think that same thing happens in sports. That sometimes they forget that, franchise quarterback is important, but
without the pieces around it.
No, and you saw in the Super Bowl, I mean, it was well executed on Tampa Bay side, and they, Brady does a great job managing the game. He's obviously talented, but that kid is a great quarterback in Kansas City. I mean, he's a talented kid. I mean, he's throwing the ball from on the ground almost.
Yeah.
But no offensive line makes a big difference.
Huge difference. On the 360 Management Hotline cellular device, 609-401-1007, Ken Dubas.
Oh,
Ken Dubas.
The Cyclone.
The Cyclone himself.
But little known fact, he's actually from Nebraska.
Yes, he's from Nebraska, and he's living in Texas, I believe.
Oh,
or something.
I tell you what,
I don't think it's Iowa though. I know Rocky just calls him the Cyclone just because of Iowa State.
Yeah, but I mean, he's gracing his presence in many states.
And many states. Well, he writes in, nice to hear some rational and intelligent commentary coming out of the number 2 seat for a change. Oh man,
Mr. Dubas is a class act. He always has been.
Oh, that's
think about it now. All the times we moved, I didn't know any neighbors except them.
Yeah, that's
I didn't know any of our neighbors except the Dubas.
That's where we learned what college football was all about. That's when
right.
we hit home runs in wiffle ball. It was called a Dubas. We'd
That's
hit it
right.
in the
You hit
backyard.
over the fence, you hit into their backyard.
If you want to get in on the action, 609-401-1007 at Wide World of Rome on Twitter and the Gram, The Rome Show 1 on Facebook. Chime in on the comment section like our man Mark Enzo. Okay, we got about a few minutes before we head up onto the break. Pops, can you pull up the Mel Kiper mock draft? Because I heard a little bit about this on my ride in here, and I saw a little bit about this morning. And there is a lot that could happen in the draft this year, right? Is it Trevor Lawrence? It's automatically going to go number 1 overall to Jacksonville, most likely. What happens with Zach Wilson? What happens with Justin Fields? Supposedly, they're predicting that no defensive linemen are drafted in the top 20 picks for the first time in X amount of years, right? So there's a lot of questions. And I know you love these mock drafts, right? You guys got great opinions on them. But I thought the Jets trade that you were mentioning in the pre-show was worth discussing on air because Mel did not mention what could come back, but I think there's a few things the Jets and the Falcons could do with the 2 and the 4 pick that are interesting.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, Atlanta must want that pick pretty desperately, right, to move up. And actually, according to Mel now, which clearly he's bored because every day comes up a new mock draft. But I mean, they're talking about taking the BYU kid, so that's interesting.
Zach Wilson.
Right, yeah. So now,
interesting.
It's interesting because why all of a sudden is Matty Ice not the player that he once was? So, I mean, you're not sitting Ryan, right? I mean,
I wonder if what they're going to try and produce is a Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers scenario, Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes scenario. That's what it feels like it's brewing.
Well, the difference. Well, here's the only thing I would say to you is that it only works if the current quarterback wins. I mean, it only worked in Kansas City because Alex Smith was winning.
Right.
They didn't go to the final, the big
So
dance.
he learned how to win. He learned how to be a great quarterback because they were a good team.
Well, that and I think the bigger issue, the elephant in this room here someplace, is the fact that the franchise really can't handle the pressure from the fan base of not winning.
Sure.
Right. So if you think about it, I mean, go no different than the Giants. there's no way we should have sat Eli Manning that quick.
Right, 100%.
I mean, it's just you took Daniel Jones out of Duke, knowing same way BYU guy is coming out of BYU, not playing the same caliber.
100%.
The same way, he played at Duke.
100%.
So you had that chance to do what you wanted to do.
Yep.
You could do it with Aaron Rodgers, because Brett Favre
Was good.
kept the family.
And he still had, he
Right,
still
and
had years left.
Right. The problem with the Giants was once you weren't winning because of the team around Eli, the fan base was, and then what happens? People say if we're going to lose, we might as well lose with the guy who's going to be our quarterback. That's where I think the problem will be in Atlanta.
Sure.
They didn't win last year. They have
to get a new head coach.
Right,
They have a new head coach.
They're going to have to give up, and that's the point we were talking about before. Is so Mel doesn't do round 2. Well, round 2, the only way you're moving up 2 spots, because a couple years ago Chicago did it. They gave up a second and a third round pick,
and that was the one to get Trubisky.
Right. So if they give up other draft picks to go from 4 to 2,
right,
the Jets are fine because they're not picking a quarterback probably anyway.
Right. I think they're going to stay with Sam Darnold. And and that's been a huge conversation on the New York Sports Talk Radio recently. And I think it's a conversation of what you were just talking about. What have the Jets done to build around Sam Darnold in his 3 years? Well, now you have a guy that's a smart football mind in Joe Douglas that's doing things the right way. And we always talk about, right, in organizations, the fish rots from the head down.
Right.
Well, right now it doesn't in the New York Jets organization. Then they get a good coach in Saleh that everyone across football believes is a fantastic leader of men, which I think is almost more important for that organization than being a good football coach. And now you have the chance to utilize that second pick because you have a quarterback that can perform with people around him. So trade the pick to Atlanta. I agree with that. Whether it's Atlanta or it's someone at 5, go get the guy Pitts from Florida that's a tight end. Go get some weapons for Sam Darnold.
Hold off on that because I want that for the Giants. But yes, you're right.
But that's got to be the move. Because if you're going to keep Sam Darnold, go get more picks and get him people around him.
I don't disagree with you, and I think that's you want if you're the Houston Oilers, and
Texans.
Texans, I'm sorry. Oh, look at that.
You just dated yourself.
Man, holy cow. hey, probably me. Hey, probably Ken's the only guy that understood what I was saying. Ken, I know. We're getting old, man. Me more than you, obviously. But think about it. If you want Deshaun Watson to stay, just say to him, hey, we're really close with the Jets.
Yeah, right.
Because think about it. All right, so get to play in New York. Man, maybe you'll sell a few sneaker contracts. You got nobody to throw the ball off to and nobody to hand the ball off to. And by the way, you got nobody to block for you.
And that's what happens if the Jets make that trade. They have to haul all of the stuff that they gained.
Yes, exactly right.
They have capital in their cap space, and they have a lot of draft capital.
Joe Douglas has probably got the best right now this year, the best general manager seat in the house.
I agree, and Chris Greer in Miami, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Dolphins fan.
I agree with that too. I would say that's number 2.
I think he's done a fantastic job, and if we're broadening the horizon, the GM for the Padres, I think he's done a fantastic job. There have been a few for teams that we're not used to that have been fun and interesting to see in the sports world, and it's cooler for us when it's closer to home.
Yeah, but I think, and I agree with that, but I think if you're a kid growing up and you're thinking about being a general, and you're thinking about all the trades you could do or the picks you could have, Joe Douglas at this moment has the capital, right? He has everything he needs. He has cap space. He has great picks. I mean, think about it. He wouldn't have won with Jamal Adams anyway. So
I agree.
Great haul right there. So and look, put some people around Sam Darnold and then decide whether he's good or bad.
I agree with that 100%. It is the Rome Show here on 12 Ounce Sports Network. Andrew Romanella, Rocky Romanella, taking you all the way up until the 9 o'clock hour. You can get on the show, 609-401-1007. We have a lot coming back on the opposite side of the break. Hockey with Rocky, or as I'm calling it, hockey with another Rocky. We have Question the Rocky Romanellas and a little bit more baseball talk for you as well. Stick around on the Rome Show here on 12 Ounce Sports. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back into the Rome Show here on 12 Ounce Sports. Andrew Romanella, Rocky Romanella, taking you all the way up until the 9 o'clock hour. We have a special edition of hockey with another Rocky. It's going to be a tag team, or a tri-team, I should say, because not only are myself and the elder statesman Rocky going to handle it, but we have a voicemail
Here we go.
from the real Rocky Romanella, according to the Rome Show standards. So, are you prepared for this?
Yes, we are. Let's do it. Let's see if we can get this technology to work. That's the biggest thing.
All right, here we go. Hockey with Rocky. Now, inside the glass, hockey with Rocky.
Hockey with Rocky. You are inside the glass with Joe Micheletti. Just kidding. It's Rocky Romanella here. We got Hockey with Rocky from the road. Andrew and Rocky Romanella, the other. I've got a couple of things for you. Number one, stop killing the NHL on Lake Tahoe. They did a great job. Who knew it was going to be that sunny? It's the middle of February. Like, take it easy, people. It was awesome. Love the game. Next up, Claude Julien fired by Montreal Canadiens. Big move. Needed to happen. Losing the voice in the locker room. And they're in that group of three behind Edmonton and Toronto, who are starting to run away with the division there, right? So if they don't make the move now, it might kill their chances to get in, right, for the playoffs. Finally, why, ladies and gentlemen, can the why can't the Flyers beat the Bruins? 0-5 versus the Bruins all year. Is it telling you something about the Flyers team long term, or is this just like a, hey, regular season doesn't matter, if we get in the playoffs, they'll win kind of thing? Those are the three things I got for you, Andrew. Hockey with Rocky will be back live, in person, and in color next week. Talk to you later.
Yeah, very nice out of him. Very nice. Before we give you our reactions, what Rocky said, we remind you that Hockey with Rocky is brought to you by the Covenant House, New Jersey. Covenant House, New Jersey provides comprehensive residential care and related services to help New Jersey's youth who have suffered from abuse, neglect, abandonment, homelessness, and human trafficking build a life for themselves that is good. In the last 30 years, Covenant House, New Jersey has become New Jersey's leader in protecting, safeguarding, and equipping youth in crisis to overcome their circumstances and journey to a future of their dreams. If you want to check out and help, CovenantHouseNewJersey.com. Head to CovenantHouseNewJersey.org. That's CovenantHouseNJ.org. Click the Donate Now button. Join the Rome Show. We donate $12 every single month to CovenantHouseNJ.org. Join the fight today. Father, a lot to unpack there from what Rocky said. Give us your thoughts.
Well, certainly, I the first unpacking was the whole Lake Tahoe thing was bizarre at best. Now, having skied Lake Tahoe, I will tell you, it's gorgeous skiing down that mountain and looking at the lake.
Did you hear about the married couple that got married during the game?
How interesting was that?
Unbelievable. Right? And for those that don't know, during the game, there was a marriage between Brianna and Austin Rowland, who had a wedding planned for noon at the Lake Tahoe resort that the hockey game was at. And the rink was put on the 18th hole.
Right.
So they were getting married right off the 18th hole. And originally the game was planned for 3:30. So the husband and wife said, we're going to get married. And then they can play. We don't care if the rink's behind us. Well, they moved the game to 11 because, as Rocky stated on the voicemail, the weather wasn't good. So they still decide to get married. They got the Bruins and the Flyers mascot at their wedding. And I think personally, as a sports guy, that's pretty cool. But how crazy is that? That is how the last year has gone for the sports world.
No, absolutely. If it could go, if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck in some of these teams. But I mean, the concept's a good concept. But I think what you're doing is you're just getting it's just getting too far. It's like anything else, right? It's like, it's all fun and games until somebody gets their eye poked out. It's like, why do you have to keep going that, go to the places that are guaranteed cold weather, and you'll be fine. Go to the, that kind of idea. Plus Lake Tahoe, there's no team there.
I agree.
How many,
I was interested by that choice.
Yeah,
very strange to me. I don't know why. Why don't we go higher north to be safe?
Yeah, it
makes no sense.
It's a beautiful place. Like I said, I've skied heavenly. It's gorgeous. but it's you were sort of taking a big chance there. So but you're right. This year with both things, if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck.
The other thing Rocky said on there is, why can't the Flyers beat the Bruins?
Interesting.
It is interesting, but I
Why
kind
they
of
keep beating the Rangers? I don't get.
why the Rangers keep losing everybody.
Yeah, we lost last
But
night.
my real question, though, is it's kind of what we talked about with the Lakers before, though. Is it just a regular season thing? Because we've always had the conversation that it's tough to beat a team 3, 4, 5 times in a row going into the playoffs and keep beating them. Is it one of those things where, hey, in the regular season, they just don't have their number, but when it comes playoff time, it could be just as even as possible?
Well, and I also think the playoffs, it's a whole new season. I think the other thing that's interesting is that in fact, I was having this conversation today with Patrick. It's interesting when it comes to sports. The playoffs is that time where the manager, the coach, really, really makes the difference, right? Because in a 162 baseball season, a coach is either going to win a few or lose a few. Sure. But in the playoffs, that's the difference. In the playoffs in football, all the sports. And I think what happens is the same way players take it to that next level, I think the same happens with the coaches.
Yeah.
So I think the same thing happens, like you were saying, with the Lakers this year, like a little bit of a funk now, them not being able to beat Boston. Once you get to the playoffs, whole new season, you forget about what happened. You don't even think about what happened in the past. Your mind is, where are they at? Because they'll be in a different spot too.
Sure.
So I think that, and then I think the manager coach makes a big difference in the playoffs.
And one thing I think is different now is the amount that these teams are playing each other in a short period of time, because it's a shortened season and you're only playing in your division. I think there's a different component to the way they get ready for these games. And when you bring in the coaching aspect on a positive end, some coaches might just handle this turnaround better in terms of preparing their team for the next opportunity to play that same opponent.
I think that's a great point. That's why, side note, I digress slightly. I think the biggest unfair playoffs system in all the sports is college football.
Why?
And I think it's so unfair because you end the season as a college football player this Thanksgiving maybe, and then you don't play until January.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous.
Right. You really have, it's unfair to those kids because they're in a different spot, whether it's in injury, they're in a different spot in the momentum.
Sure.
It's a completely different, and it's so unfair to them.
Yeah.
Why do I have to sit out 6 weeks?
Yeah, before we play the national championship semifinal.
Right. They're two different teams at that moment.
Right.
Right. So I think that's probably the most unfair. To your point, you're either coming out, you're either going in as a wild card. That's fine with me. But
Absolutely.
you're close to when you're at the top of your game.
Right.
Not this, you got 6 weeks to go. And I think it's so unfair. So that to me is the example of the extreme one way.
Yes.
Of course, the extreme the other way is, there's you end your wild card team in on a Monday. On Wednesday, you're playing you're back to playing again. So, it's a little bit, that may be a little bit.
Yeah, the regular season ends on a Wednesday. Friday, you're in the playoffs for one game, and that's it.
That's it.
Which is why I think, to take it back to the baseball playoff conversation, like, you just have to change that a little bit. Like, you have to make it feel like you have earned something. You end your season on a Wednesday, to your point, and you play a single game eliminational playoff 48 hours later. Did it really feel like you made the postseason?
No, and if you think about it, that's the pinnacle, right? So, that's, as Coach Wooden would say, that's your competitive greatness, being your best when your best is needed at that pinnacle. And yet you don't need 162 games in baseball if it means you're going to water down or you're going to, have a playoff series that's discombobulated because of when it ends and how many days in between. Same with college football. If this whole process that then gives people 4 weeks off is absurd. I think hockey probably does it well, but even them 80-game season, I'll be interested to see how this 60-game season goes this year.
Yeah. Because
62, whatever it is. I just think there's a point where you're better off with better playoff games because people are in a better position. So I think that's what they should be learning from all this process.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah. How many more? Think about it. It makes, and it's business 101. I could either play 162 games and get 10,000 people in the stadium, 81 home games, and get 10,000 people in the stadium, or I play 50 games and I get 20,000 people, I'm still getting the same concessions.
Yeah.
It's the difference is, I'm not playing so many games.
And will the state let me have 20,000 in my stadium?
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Who knows? All right. That is Hockey with Rocky, a different version, of course, but hey, nonetheless, still very good. Remember, Hockey with Rocky is sponsored by Covenant House, New Jersey. Go to covenanthousenj.org and donate today to help New Jersey's youth father. Okay, so we had a little bit of fun when we were trying to figure out who was going to do the show this week. As we know, I've gone back to my job with college sports being in play. Unfortunately, recently, due to some concerns over a COVID outbreak, we weren't able to play some sports. So that's why I'm here live with you today. Exciting. However, Rocky is, I guess, how can I say, entertaining his team at an event to celebrate their successes recently, which is exciting with their ADP team. So my father, Rocky Romanella, has stepped in. So in the banks of him stepping in, I thought about this. I can't handle this too Rocky Romanella thing. Right? So we decided we were going to ask questions to both Rocky Romanellas. One Rocky Romanella, being my brother, was going to answer these questions pre-show. The other Rocky Romanella, sitting in front of me, was going to answer them live for the Romo Sapiens. Okay, so this is Ask Rocky Questions. Now, here's how this works, okay? I ask the question, okay? You get the choice. Do you want to know Rocky's answer first, or do you want to give your answer first, okay? Each question may vary differently for you, okay? Secondly, if you have a question for Rocky Romanella, the live version, okay, 609-401-1007. That is 609-401-1007. Text us. Okay, there's the show phone right there, ready to rock, ready to answer your text. You can Facebook it. You can Wide World of Rome on the Twitter it as well. Okay, and we're going to get cooking here. Okay, this is one of my favorite segments I might have come up with of all
We'll
time.
have to see which son is demeaning me here based on the answer. We'll have to see here. There we go. All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. I'm pulling up Rocky the Others answers right now.
I don't want to know his answer first.
Okay, we'll go with question number 1.
I can't handle this too Rocky Romanella thing.
What value does having a captain bring to a team? Should every sport have captains? Do you want to give your answer first or the other?
No, that's so. I don't really see in most sports the value of having a captain's. I mean, clearly, if you think about it for a second, in football, the number one thing they do is call heads or tails.
It's funny.
I mean, your leadership in most sports is. I don't think the Yankees would have been any better or worse whether Jeter was captain or not. It's more ceremonious. I do think in hockey it does make a difference for. I do feel like that is the one sport where the captain does make a difference.
There are obvious differences in hockey.
Yeah, it's like the field general, ice general, whatever. But so I would say I just think it's something that makes people feel good, but I don't really think it makes a difference.
The other Rocky Romanella would disagree with you. He said they have a high value, and yes, they should be in every sport. His example is Mark Messier was brought to the Rangers specifically to have a captain to lead the plays to a Stanley Cup. Now, my point is, to your point, that is hockey specific.
Right.
I would also agree. In baseball, I don't think there necessarily needs to be a captain labeled. In football, I don't think there necessarily needs to be a captain labeled. I don't think it's so in basketball. I think a sport like hockey, yes. A sport like soccer, yes. You know, there are benefits to being a captain in those sports. You can talk to the official. You have the ability to do things beyond the regular person that doesn't have a C on their chest or the captain band on their arm. So I would agree. I do believe there needs to be leaders, but leaders establish themselves. You don't have to establish leaders.
No, I don't. I think that's a great point. I mean, well, think about it. Here, go no further. So the captain goes down with the ship. We just talked about all the captains that went out. Russell Wilson wants out. Deshaun Watson wants out.
They're all wearing the C on their jersey.
All the captains like, get me to the lifeboat first. I'm out of here, and I'll tell you.
Screw these people. They go down with the ship.
Right. I think the other thing, last point though, is when you just mentioned soccer too, is the difference is these aren't sports where you get massive amounts of timeouts. If you think about basketball, especially college basketball, nobody manages timeouts better than a great college basketball coach, because just when you're starting to get a run, they call the timeout at the right moment. You know, baseball, you have in between innings. Football, you have the change of possessions. You have you have the quarters and TV timeouts that seem to take forever.
Sure.
And coaches then become more But to me, it feels like when you're on the ice, or you played, you rock. I mean, when you're on the ice, that person's really setting the tone.
Yeah.
You see them on the bench. It's such a close knit. I think soccer's the same way. So
Sure.
I think the timeouts probably.
That's a good point.
In hindsight, play a little bit more into this.
Into that role. I agree. All right, moving on to question number 2. Question the Rocky Romanella, 609-401-1007. If you have a question for the live Rocky Romanella. Who is the head coach of the New York Rangers in 2021-2022?
I got to tell you, I'm not sure it's going to be David Quinn. And here's my rationale. I'm on the fence with him right now, although, I was a fan early on. John Davidson did not hire him, and he is the president of the baseball operation.
Hockey operations.
Yeah, JD. And JD, yes, that's right. And JD is not going to sit much longer for the Rangers to be in this
Muddling territory.
And I think that I know this is not going to sound. I should be more open-minded about this, so at least I'm giving you the disclaimer. I think there's a huge jump between college sports and pro sports.
Sure.
And it's a very difficult. And while he had a great run at Boston College, I just think it's a different. He's got a lot of young talent. I was really hoping for him to move that. Be able to kind of grow and develop that talent. I just feel like he moves these kids so much that he just plays with their heads. So I think it's 50-50, 60-40 that he won't be there.
Rocky Romanella, the other, says David Quinn, 100%. That's his guess.
Will be there.
He will be the head coach next year.
He's a big fan of David Quinn.
He is.
Really is a big fan. Look,
and there are great qualities to David Quinn.
Oh, I do. I think so
but
too.
In New York with the Rangers, not hired by the president of hockey operations, it's a lot going against you if you're not winning hockey games.
Well, you could argue a lot of different
and
things.
Development.
That's a good point. You could argue a lot of different things, but hey, Jack Hughes had a rough first year.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, he's flourishing
looks
this
good.
year.
Devils look. He looks good, and that team looks better.
Well, and what's the difference?
The head coach.
That's exactly
Lindsey
right.
Ruff. I say his name wrong every time.
Well, and what he's good, and he's a seasoned professional at that level.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure. Like I said, I think JD has a lot. He didn't hire him. I think
and that's a great point. It is. Moving on.
I can't handle this two Rocky Romanella thing.
Question number 3. I asked both Rocky Romanellas what they believe the Mets over-under would be on a 162-game season this year. It so happened to be that ESPN came out with their simulated list. Okay, I'll let you know what their response was after. But I set the line at 87.5. Would you like to answer first?
I think they're going to be over 95.
Wow.
I think they'll be between 96 and 100.
Ooh, hot take. The other Rocky Romanella says they'll be at 97.
Oh, right there. We're both there.
So that's the first one. That's the boat. You both believe the Mets are way above the 87.5 line.
Oh, my God, easily. Yes,
Do you know why I set the line there?
No.
Because I feel like there's a lot for this team to prove. Even though there are names around this ball club, there's a lot to prove. Yes, we have Jacob deGrom, but Stroman has to prove himself. Carrasco needs to prove himself. Hey, Noah Syndergaard, when he comes back, needs to prove himself, right? That bullpen needs to prove that they can close out games, that they can hold games. I need to see Conforto have a consistent year. Lindor, by his standards, had a down year last year, wants to prove his worth to get a new contract.
Yeah.
So there is, in theory, a way that people could see them not winning as much as I think you and I believe that they can win.
Do you want to know how I got to my 97?
Yes, I do.
Besides being a Homer love giant Met fan. So here's my rationale. Their pitching staff, will pitch more innings this year. You don't have Porcello. You don't have Waka. So you had guys out in the second inning.
And the addition of Trevor May in the bullpen is huge.
But I think you won't go to the bullpen nearly as much because I think you should get
6 or 7 innings out of guys.
Put DeGrom on the side for a second. You've got to, Carrasco will get you 6 innings.
Yeah, he should throw over 250 innings this year.
Same thing,
hopefully with Stroman.
Yeah, Stroman should, So you got 5. I think Peterson had a great year last year, and he pitched 6 innings.
Do you want to know what the ESPN simulation was?
Yeah, what was that?
90.6 wins.
So look, I'd rather under commit and over deliver.
And they were number 6 on those power rankings.
But I think so. My biggest rationale is the bullpen will be better, not necessarily so much because they are that much better.
Yep.
You won't go to them. You won't be putting people in the second or third inning.
I agree.
I think that's the biggest difference.
Moving forward.
I can't handle this two Rocky Romanella thing.
Number 4, of the quarterbacks traded this offseason, Wentz, Stafford, and Goff. Who has the best chance to win the Super Bowl?
None of them.
Wow.
None of
You don't
them.
think either of the three will end their career with a Super Bowl?
No, it's crazy. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, these guys. I don't think any of them are really good. They're good.
Hot take all day from
Yeah,
you.
they're good, but they're not like. I mean, none of these. I mean, who? No, I don't.
The
think
other
so.
Rocky Romanello said Matt Stafford, which I agree with. Of those 3, he has the best chance because of McVay in that defense. In that defense.
Yeah, I just don't think that.
I don't think Wentz is winning a Super Bowl, nor do I believe Goff is. I think Stafford has the best chance.
He might have the best chance, but I don't see it at all. I don't think LA is nearly as good a team. They had their. People don't realize how difficult it is to get back to that.
Oh, yeah.
Go ask Dan Marino. I
Yeah.
mean, who would have ever thought
He
we'd
would never get back.
Oh my God! I
Yeah.
mean, and the rest of his soul. Don Shula was an outstanding coach. I mean, I just think people don't realize how tough it is to get back, and so I think what ends up happening, and I think that's the one thing the NFL has done, right? Because of the way you pick afterwards, they're always reshuffling the deck. I
Yeah.
mean, you may not have parity in terms of free agency necessarily, but your draft picks, the longevity, So no, I don't. I like Matt Stafford as a player, but I don't think he's that great.
That's a great point. All right, moving on.
I can't handle this two Rocky Romanella thing.
Your Bill Belichick, who do you draft or sign as your next QB?
I take the kid from BYU.
Zach Wilson.
Yes.
I agree with you.
I think he'll fit because he's the new Joe Montana. Put him in the right system with Bill Walsh, and he'll be an excellent quarterback. And I think one thing about Belichick, he'll never ask him to do more things than he's capable of doing. So he'll figure out his strengths, and he'll make him be an excellent quarterback within the system. So I think that. I mean, think about it. Cam Newton's running around telling everybody, "You guys don't know how great this guy is." Yeah, which is code for please sign me.
Yeah,
again.
sign me back. Yeah, I need to be back there.
I know. I should have been skins and shirts. I throw the ball to the wrong team sometimes. But hey, man, I think that would be the right quarterback for him.
The other Rocky Romanella said the best possible option if he was Bill Belichick would be try and get Deshaun Watson because he is the smartest brained quarterback available, and he thinks Bill Belichick needs that.
Yeah, I just could be, but I don't know if Belichick can build the
A
team.
trade that's going to be able to get Deshaun Watson
Yeah,
there.
or get a team around him.
Now, the one thing the Patriots have going for them is they had a lot of opt-outs in key positions last year. So they almost had the best offseason just because they had 8 dudes return from not just playing because of COVID last year.
Yeah, and I think I don't know whether you agree with this and you watch the AFC East more than all of us. I think if he doesn't fumble that one ball at that one game at the end, and that changed the whole season for them.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Football is one sport, though, interesting enough, because there's only 16 games where momentum does go week to week. I mean, baseball doesn't really have momentum. Momentum's the next day's pitcher. I mean,
You're right.
You could be on a great run, all of a sudden you go up against, DeGrom or Bauer or whoever, Garrett Cole on a good day, you're done.
Yeah.
But football, momentum can carry from week to week, and I felt like that game with Cam, they were starting to get some momentum going. So
I agree with you. Before we get the last 2 questions of Ask Rocky Romanella here on the Rome Show, we remind you that this segment of the show is sponsored by the Baseball United Foundation. Head over to baseballunitedfoundation.org. It was founded in 2006 to support the development of amateur baseball in Ireland, but now has moved all over the world, including the United States, and over time has impacted so many through the game of baseball. We thank the passionate volunteers, donors, and partners who have provided fundraising and logistical support to the Baseball United Fund. We, the Rome Show, are looking to do that as well. You could either A, head to the baseballunitedfoundation.org and hit make a donation. The Rome Show is donating $12 a month as well to the Baseball United Foundation, or you can send the Rome Show 1 at gmail.com an email, and we'll communicate, and you can send us some of your baseball or softball gear that you may have laying around. So there's 2 ways that it operates. Thank you to Big Brothers Pizza and Sean Marsiglia in Florida for showing us and connecting to us with the Baseball United Foundation. The last thing I'll tell you, baseballunitedfoundation.org, is we're going to have the founder of baseballunitedfoundation.org second week of March on the Rome Show to talk to us about everything they're doing. So head to the baseballunitedfoundation.org or the Rome Show 1 at gmail.com. Send us an email. Let's finish up questions with Rocky number 6. Hold on.
I can't handle this two Rocky Romanella thing.
What is the hardest part about being named Rocky?
People asking you, is that your real name?
It's probably funny how many people don't believe you're
Including your
you're
mom.
lying.
When you
That's
first
true.
met
That's
me.
funny.
Is that your real name? What kind of question is that? Is
And
that
that's
my real
funny.
name?
And since you named me Andrew, I can tell you that there's no questions here whether or not I'm lying about my name. I'm actually sometimes surprised when I'm not in a room or a class with another Andrew. That's how common it is.
Yeah. Well, either that or you're feels like we're named Rockies are named after more people have pets named Rocky than they have family
They have-
members. You know, yeah.
And that's opposite for me. I have way more family members
Yeah.
named Rocky. Now, the other Rocky Romanell said, nothing. It's the effing best. I will asterisk him. But it's annoying when people spell it with an EY. That is just disrespectful.
Yeah, or IE. Yeah, Rocky, like ROCK.
ROCKY,
Rocco.
ladies and gentlemen.
You always know someone's calling you, asking you for money when they say, is this Rocco Romanello? I'm like, all right, you ain't getting no money from me, that's for sure.
And the fact of the matter is, Romo Sapiens out there, both of their official names are Rocco
Yes.
Romanella. My brother has a middle name. My father does not have a middle name. So it's Rocco Romanella, Rocco Anthony Romanella, and it's Rocco Pasquale Romanella.
Baby
Those are the three. And we could go on, honestly. I mean, how many are there? 8 to 12?
Oh, man, one time there was 11, I think, in the family.
That's
Yeah,
unbelievable. All right, your last Rocky Romanella question.
I can't handle this two Rocky Romanella thing.
If the other Rocky Romanella was an actor, who would you cast him as?
So if he was an actor,
Yep.
who would I say? Yeah,
You go play this role.
oh, probably it would be, he could be Top Gun. He would be.
Tom Cruise
yeah,
in Top
he'd
Gun.
be Maverick. Yeah, he'd be Maverick in Top Gun.
Well, the other Rocky Romanella said you would be Tom Cruise, but in Jerry Maguire.
Ah, I love that. Help me
Help
you. Yes.
Show me the money, Jerry.
Yeah. But he would definitely be Maverick.
And he also said you could be Gene Hackman in Hoosiers.
No, I would be. No.
Doesn't agree.
No, I would absolutely be One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, who? Richard Gere?
No. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is what's his name? The crazy guy always plays the crazy man. You know.
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicholson.
There you
I could
go.
be the more I say I'm saying, the more insane I look. Dr. Mancini, Dr. Cesaru. Yeah, I'd be.
I think, that would fit you really well.
I could do that one. But no, he would. I could see Jerry Maguire though. That's pretty good.
That is your first ever edition of Question the Rocky Romanellas. Of course, our man Ken Dubas writes in, young Rocky is going to have to fight to get his seat back. Big Rocky is bringing it. I think that does one of those. And I'll tell you what, Ken Dubas is bringing the heat tonight.
Yes, he is. You know who else he could be? He could be Herb Brooks in Miracle.
Herb Brooks in Miracle. That's a good point.
He could be Herb Brooks in Miracle.
That's a great point.
He could do that. That's right.
I'll tell you what, this has been a fun show. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Oh, I've had a good time. I'm a little nervous, but tried to represent the older generation much better.
I think you did a fantastic job. We need to let everybody know that, remember, you can get the Rome Show at the Wide World of Rome, wherever you get your podcast, or simply search the Rome Show. Either one, hit subscribe. You can get it everywhere. And remember, wideworldofrome.com, we have the special apparel out till March 4th. Right when you type in wideworldofrome.com, it pops up right on your screen. It makes it just so easy for you to get everything that you need for the Wide World of Rome. Father Rocky Romanella, what we've called you 9 different things today. Have anything else to the Roman Sapiens before we leave?
Yes. This year, I am excited about this year's St. Elizabeth Knights, the Golden Knights.
Eagles.
Eagles. So I am a big fan this year, so I'm looking forward to going to their first game. As the Golden Knights have a wonderful new head coach,
Eagles.
Coach K. Knights or Eagles?
Eagles.
Well, that's because I'm a Knights with the...
Yeah. You got too many.
And Santa Margarita was the Golden Eagles.
They were
too.
the Eagles, yes.
Eagles. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to be at a Golden Eagles game to root for Coach K.
That's exciting. Yeah, go to stu.edu at stuathletics.com to find out more. Andrew Romanella, Rocky Romanella. This has been the Rome Show here on 12 Ounce Sports. We will be back next week. Until then, peace.
Thank you for listening.